Good morning. My name is Rusty Bradshaw, and I'm a retired journalist who now can turn his attention fully towards his recreational writing. And that has turned into, so far, 4 published books. Now, I've been asked to do this interview, kind of a different kind of interview. I'm used to asking questions in interviews or being asked questions, as I've been subject of interviews on radio, but we're doing this a little different. Got some questions here that I will answer and send along. First question is how did I get involved in writing? Well, I suppose the quick and easy answer is because an avid reader. I read a lot. My wife will tell you that I've got way too many books, but I don't have enough, because I just like to read, and I always have. When I was in high school, I did a lot of essays and book reports and stuff, and most of them were written. So I just kind of went that way. And four of the books that I've done so far have come from stories that actually were started in high school. So there you go. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the short stories that I wrote in high school during classes. I had a creative writing class, a couple of English classes, did some essays, some poems. I got a bunch of poetry. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the first book I published. It's called The Rehabilitation of Miss Little. That was published in 2018. Now, the plot of this book is about a woman who has been bullied or mistreated most all of her life, including by her family. And to try and get away from that, she goes to college in a different state, thinking that she can get away from all of the problems. And that doesn't happen, because when she gets to college, people see that she's vulnerable. And so this one girl starts a bullying campaign. This girl meets a man who befriends her and kind of takes pity on her for reasons that you'll find out in the book. And he helps her get out of her low self-esteem, brings her out of her shell. And in turn, she helps him out of a little trouble. And then you learn what his motivation in helping her is at the end of the book. Now, each of my books, while they're all fiction and they're set in different places and stuff, a little bit of my life experiences will go in each book. Some of it is directly from my life. Some of it is just things that I've seen and observed. My second book, called Moist on the Mountain, there are some portions in the beginning of that book that are taken directly from something that happened to me during my time growing up in Du Bois, Wyoming. So there's a little bit of me in each book. There's a little bit of me in probably each male character. Even in Moist on the Mountain, where there are 3 main male characters, I think I took a little bit of me and put it in each character. Okay, and going back to the rehabilitation of Miss Little, bullying is kind of a main topic in the book. Now, that kind of comes from the fact that I saw a lot of that when I was growing up. I took some. I wore glasses. I've worn glasses all my life. And I took some bullying because I wore glasses. It was that time in the 70s where People had to feel good about themselves by tearing somebody else down. I saw it happen to other people. So that kind of dived in there. The book is more a story about her and how she comes out of it than the bullying itself. So, and another question is there anything you have written during your life that you wished you could go back and change? Well, each of the four books, the first three books that I've published that were started in high school, I had changed because they seemed a little simplistic. Once I really started getting after writing them for real, after a 30-year period where they sat in a box and gathered dust, kind of updated them a little bit and gave them more detail. So yeah, there have been some things that I've changed, but not terribly much. My fourth book, Battle for Stephanie, is one that I started after a change in my life. It started out differently. It started out in a different presentation. And I decided to change it a little bit so that it was more of a fiction situation. The book that is now at the publisher, called Death and Hazard, which should be in the market in about a month or so, is the first book that I basically started from scratch. Not taken from something I wrote years ago. I was inspired by a song to write this story. The song had the very basics of something. And I took it and ran with it because I always heard the song and I thought, there's a story there. There's more to be told. So I did. The last question in this list of inquiries is, do you have a set number of books you want to write before I'm done? Well, the thing is, I don't know that I'm ever going to be done. I just want to keep writing. There's a lot of ideas up here. I have 2 books that are complete that have not been published yet, besides Death and Hazard. It's nearly done, but I have 2 others that are complete. One is kind of an autobiography situation about my time in high school athletics. I always read these books about professional athletes who went on and did great things and stuff, but I hardly ever, and I don't think I ever read a book that was written by an average or less athlete. Well, I was an average athlete, so I decided to tell my story. I have an idea for a follow-up for that book, and it's going to be more about, things that you set goals in life, and maybe you don't reach that specific goal, but in some ways you reach the goal in other ways. The other book that's not complete is based on a twice-canceled television series called Timeless. And I would love to meet or at least talk to the creators of that series so that I can get permission to publish it. I've had one publisher turn it down because it was based on a TV series. But who knows? That one may come about. And I'm very excited about that one because I really liked the show. It was a time travel show, and those really get me. So you may see that in the future. Who knows? But I want to take a minute and thank you all for listening. And if you're interested in my books, and I don't know why you wouldn't be because they're great stories, you can check them out on my website, www.rustythewriter.org. And of course, all my books are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So check them out. You won't be disappointed. Like Joe Namath says, I guarantee it.